The question becomes, what does America owe to Black people for those years of oppression, of systemic oppression? And we have seen on many different levels that other groups inside the United States, as well as outside of the United States in different countries such as Germany and Canada, have received forms of reparations. And so right now in this country, we feel like we have suffered the longest without a real acknowledgement financially or even in the form of an apology. And so that's why it's extremely important that this conversation takes place. And I applaud what they're doing in Evanstown.
So how are we supposed to determine who's eligible for reparations? If it's based on slavery, are people expected to provide records? And where do Black residents without the legacy of slavery fit into this?
Well, I think that's a great question. And one of the challenges we're having right now in America is that everybody is looking at reparations as some form of check. And quite honestly, what we're fighting for right now in America is just to establish a commission to study reparations, to see what makes the most sense as it relates to that. So maybe it might be financial payments. Maybe it might be targeting communities like you're doing in Evanstown, where people have been marginalized, and building resources in the form of schools, for example. There's billions of dollars in differences in just how schools that are predominantly Black get funded versus predominantly white. Can we get some equality as it relates to that? And so right now, people who say that it's just about writing a check, they are trying to brush this off as some type of social welfare from the government and don't want to have a real conversation of what America owes to Black people.
Well, what is the consensus in the United States on reparations? Are people generally on board with this?
No, I would say that people are not generally on board with it when it comes to Black people. There have been conversations about different ways that Japanese Americans have been compensated after World War II. There have been arrangements that have been made with Native American communities as well. But when it comes to the conversation about Black people, we have not even received an apology for years of slavery and other forms of oppression. So there are many people that are on board. For example, universities that have profited off of slavery, like Georgetown University and Brown University, have started to do work to recognize the descendants of enslaved people who built their universities and work with financial situations for them. But overall, it's still a mixed bag in this country.